Hello. Come on in. Come on in. How are you all doing today? I know so much is going on in the world, and it's a lot of hustle and bustle going on. I know we're talking about Breast Cancer Month and all those things in order to help individuals. But I want us to pause for a moment. I want us to take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Try one more time. Inhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Release to the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did that for a reason. And many times it helped us to become centered because we're doing so many things during the day. In the evening, as soon as we sit down, we're exhausted. But I have found that when I take that me time for a moment and inhale, then exhale, it helps to relax me. So I wanted to start with that this evening because the conversation I'm going to have is pretty heart wrenching, is heartbreaking, is emotional for me. So I'm your show host, Maxine Pearl Phillips. I am here on the Life Strategy Show because I understand my purpose. And as we have this discussion this evening, I trust that you'll walk away with wanting or discovering, identifying, confirming what your purpose is because life is too short. And I'm going to talk about turning a lost into my purpose. But before I get started, let's talk about what Levelless is. Levelless is a career and professional development company. And what it does, it helps individuals to understand what career path are you going into based on your own abilities and your strengths. And from there, how do you select a profession that matches or complements what your strengths are? So it's important to us here at Levelless, and it's definitely important to me because this is how I started my life, even as a young girl at the age of 11. As we talk about Levelless, it's about success without levels. I help individuals to understand that you can be successful without worrying about trying to go to the next level, climb the corporate ladder, position yourself where you are the best at the top. But instead, we help you to define what success is. And that's what I've had to do again as a teenager, in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and definitely in my 50s, because the incident that happened in life at the age of 55 is something I don't wish on anyone. But we'll talk about that in just a second. Because what I wanted to do was also share with you that this evening conversation is a transition from the conversations that I've held in the last couple of weeks. And I talked about my near death experience with preservatives, food additives, and chemicals that my body rejected, really, as simple as that. It rejected it. And it took my heart into something, a chaos, pretty like that. And where I had ended up having heart failure. And I've shared with you about reading labels, about eating, about what works for you and your body, and for you to stick with it, and also for you to understand your body better than anyone else. In understanding your body better than anyone else, part of that are your emotions. It's not only your health, but also your physical and your mental and your emotional state. So, as I talk this evening, I'm going to put on the screen. We want you to be able to go to a particular link after the show. And this is where I did a TED Talk back in October of 2023. Now, it might seem like this is out of place in a sense, but it really isn't, because what I want you to understand, the TED Talk was about living your legacy. Nobody can live your legacy but you. And the whole objective of doing that TED Talk about living your legacy was to share with you how I turned a loss into a purpose. When you look at the TED Talk, you're going to see that I describe three individuals and how they have been lived, how they lived their legacy. And then I described an individual who started out as a young girl and who ended up having to write her goals. And how did those goals help her find her purpose? How did those goals help her to succeed? How did writing those goals help her to achieve what she had set out for herself when she was just in middle school? So the TED Talks help you to understand that. I don't want to give all of it away because I really want you to go out there and actually look at the TED Talk, because it's like anything else. We want you to be able to see the emotions, what was expressed during the TED Talk, and what we can learn from it. But even with that, I want to talk about that when you go through these emotional states, mental, physical, it can even be financial. But during the TED Talk, as I share with you the loss of my husband, yes, the emotions come back. They do come back. But I will say to you that during the time that I was going through the life threatening, the heart failure, not knowing if I'm going to wake up the next morning, not knowing if I can breathe the next minute, I remember all those emotions that I felt and the pain that I felt when I lost my husband in 2010. But losing him was bad enough. But what also happened, how do you handle when you are told on a Monday that your job is being eliminated, being in an executive position on a Tuesday, and your job is being eliminated, mind you, because the office is closing and several offices were closing. And being in the executive position that I was in, as far as human resources, that was one of my responsibilities, was to assist in closing of offices and laying individuals off. And so that Tuesday I left going out of town to close an office, to lay people off. But see, I had no idea that while I was gone, that my husband would be called home to heaven only 2 days later. And I wasn't nowhere around. I was out of town working. So when we hear the words work-life balance, I've also read and heard others to say, let's turn that around. Let's flip that. And let's call it life work balance, because you must live first. And that's where I come in and talk about living your legacy and why it is essential for you to live your legacy now. As I indicated, tomorrow's not promised. So it's important that you start living your legacy and start living it now. One thing that helped me was my faith, understanding who I am and whose I am. The next thing that helped me was because my husband and I had already drafted a plan for a business. So we already knew the directions that we were getting ready to take. That's why with Levelers, we have what we call our D6. And our D6 is like what we discover, We define, we design, we develop, we deliver, and then we deploy. So, because he and I had already put a strategy in place on starting a business, then I had an opportunity to move forward with the legacy plan that we had strategized together. That's right, the plan that we had strategized together. Was it easy? By no means at all. It was not. I didn't even know it could be done. So, what I did was I took that loss and I started sharing it and I started talking about it. Little did I know that others had experienced the same emotions, the same mental, the same intellectual, the same physical, the same spiritual, the same financial, what I had was going through. So by sharing our stories, we find that once we do, we are able to help others and it's helping us as well. So I want to pause for a moment and I want to ask you a question. What are you doing to live your legacy? What are you doing to live your legacy? I want you to just pause and think about that right now. And then I want you to write down one thing that you are doing to live your legacy. See, because living your legacy is about living it now. I want to ask you another question. How old are you? Write that number down for yourself. I turned 70 this month. So I invite you back on October the 28th for a birthday celebration. Come in, say hi, let me know you're here. So as you have written that number down, I want you to look at it and look at it closely. It could be 23, it could be 33, it could be 58, it could be 88. But I ask you, what have you done to live your legacy? What have you done to live your legacy? Because many times we find ourselves asking others, what have they done? What are they doing? How are they doing it? The way in which they're doing it. And we're trying to piggyback on them. But no, I want you to live your legacy. Hi, Darlene. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In living your legacy, you must strategize. You must understand who you are and what it is that you have been purposed to do. So see, if you're unsure of who you not only who you are and what you've been purposed to do, if you're not sure of it, that means that it comes a time where you have to reach out and seek individuals so they can then help you clarify your purpose or help you to define your purpose or even help you to discover your purpose. I know as a career coach and consultant, I end up helping individuals to confirm their purpose. That's right. So, see, you can either discover it, you can identify it, or you can confirm your purpose. But it is important that you understand what you have been purposed to do. What is your calling? What are your strengths? Why you are here? Why you are here living, breathing, and can make an impact. As I had gone through the emotions of the loss of my husband, I understood that when individuals tell you to call on them when you're going through something, I tried that. It did not work because the emotions that I was feeling, if they had not gone through that, they could not feel it. Not that they didn't understand, but they just did not have those feelings that you feel when you're going through those emotions.
Maxine, I had a quick question for you to get some clarity and everything along those lines. Because one of the things I find interesting, I told you I went to visit Dad because now sitting at home and everything along those lines. But he was reflecting on some of the things that he's done in his life and he's continuing to do in his life. And I was just wondering, what do you say for folks that are know their purpose but find their purpose shifting? Because one of the things that Dad was talking about was how when he was young, he actually had gone to the military and learned Russian, so he was doing like whole military thing. Even though right now he's not that big into the military, and probably even in some ways is anti-military establishment. But then when he became a young man and came back to town in the mid 60s and everything, he became an organizer and like an organizer of labor and people that were trying to do organizing like unions and stuff like that. So he shifted from being a te- a, a, a student because he was a student first. He talked about how he wasn't not even the best student and probably wasn't even dedicating and putting enough energy into himself. So he went from being a student to the military to being a better student when he came back to school to being an organizer to then with both of my parents organizing a radio station, and I could go down to a couple of other things where he now is known as an artist. So it's like during the course of his timeline, he has probably shifted purposes several times. I'm thinking that a lot of these things probably have some commonality. Just like in my own life, I am a media person and a event planner, and there are some things that you have to have in terms of people skills that are common across all of those fields. And I would imagine Dad would say the same thing about his journey as well. But I just wanted your take on how the purpose can shift as you go through life and everything along those lines. And then I'm just going to teach you really quickly, and I'm going to get off the mic here and let you go back to doing your show. But your birthday is on Monday, and you're going to have a birthday celebration and everything. So you're going to turn 70. My brother is going to turn the speed limit on that Saturday. So maybe I'll get him to come by. So Malik will be turning 55 because he was born in 1969 on October 26th. So y'all actually share some commonalities and everything. So his birthday will be on October 26th, and he will turn the magic 55.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to invite him to come on and say happy. I'll say happy birthday to him, and he can say happy birthday to me. And I'm actually October 25th, but I'm going to
Okay.
celebrate it on the 28th, so I
Got
can
you.
have individuals to come in because I have phenomenal guests who's coming on the 21st. We have Sharon Campbell who's
Okay.
gonna be coming on. Plan to prosper is going to
Right.
be my guest on the 21st. But yeah, so individuals, please get ready to come and be a part of my birthday celebration on October 28th. And we have enough space for like 10 on StreamYard at any given time. So we can let you in so you can come in and say happy birthday in person. Doesn't necessarily have to be typed out in the comment box. So get ready for that. But I'm blessed to be able to turn 70, because like with that near death experience that I had in March, hey, listen, I'm grateful to be able to sit here and share with you the information that I'm sharing with you. And that's part of the reason why I'm sharing it is because why take this information? There's plenty of people already in the grave with tons of information that they failed to share. I want to leave this earth empty. And empty, which means sharing all the information I possibly can, because that's a part of living my legacy. Mark asks the question, what do you do when you shift your purpose? Does your purpose really shift? Or what happens is the fact that what your priorities are perhaps shifts. Your purpose does not. You do maybe not as much of it. And as you get older, you're definitely not going to do as much of it. But if you have a purpose and you have a passion and it's your strength and it's your ability, it's something that you would do until you're no longer here on this earth. Now, when he talked about organizing, The individual, his father was probably already organizing along the way in life. It's just it came more prominent and more open and more, you saw him doing more of it as he got older. But I guarantee you that even when he was in the military, he organized himself, he organized things, he organized probably his room, and probably his entire life he's been organizing it, even as a little boy. Because when it's a natural born ability or strength, you do it without even thinking about it. And there's an assessment that we do to help you to understand what are your natural given abilities and your strengths, so that you can then have a clear path to your what your career path is going to be. And then from there you select a profession. So as you notice, his father went into several professions, but it really it progressed. That's why we say levelless is success without levels, because you can be successful your entire life without going up the climb a ladder or the levels or level up. You don't necessarily have to do that, but what you have to do is put a plan in place, a strategy in place, and you must work that strategy. That's what living your legacy is. It's not only knowing who you are, but it's also defining what success is for you. You must define what success is for you, because we already know that success for each individual is totally different. So that's why it's important that you have to define what success is for you. And my husband and I had defined how we were going to be moving forward in our business. And by doing that, I had something I could fall back on, that I could start doing instead of occupying my time with being lonesome, being by myself. Yes, I have children and I have grandchildren, but you're still going to find a period of time when you are by yourself. And that's when you must understand your purpose and your passion and your calling, and how do you take that and move forward. So even in the loss of my husband, our purpose was already built into what we had already discussed. And what I had to do was be strong enough and use my faith to step forward. And that's where we find ourselves in many of those situations, that we can do that. But sometimes it takes just a little bit longer. And then sometimes it takes a support system. And then sometimes it takes you just sitting back, just take a step back, breathe, and write. And in that writing, I call it journaling. And in that journaling, many times you find the answers that you need to find in order to move forward. So that's one of the things that I did in order to help me be resilient. Not only did I put a plan in, not only did he and I have a plan that we had put in place, but somebody had to what? Deliver it. Someone had to deploy it. I had to execute it. And so what I had to do was understand then, since he was no longer with me, what's my definition of success? What does it look like? And how am I going to move forward? So I want you to think about, what's your definition of success? And how are you moving forward? How are you living your legacy and living it now? Not until you're no longer here, and then they start giving you the accolades or they talk about what you've done. So live your legacy and let it shine now, so and you can enjoy it. You can help others. You can make an impact. So reflecting on life challenges is one of the things that I want you to take into really to do right now. Reflect on some of your life challenges that you've had, that you've encountered. And I want you to write down one or two of those challenges that you've encountered. And then I want you to put along this, beside it or right underneath it, how do you define the success that's going to help you get through those challenges? What plan are you going to put in place, or strategies or action steps you're going to put in place that's going to help you move forward? So, yes, my loss helped me to turn it into my purpose. And my purpose is to help you to understand what your purpose is. and they help you to understand what your strengths are so that you can move forward in life and you don't find yourself stuck. You do not find yourself stuck, and therefore you can make an impact and help others. I mean, I've been volunteering for over 50 years, but it doesn't take you 50 years to volunteer. Wherever you are, you can start now. And we all face moments and the challenges, the thoughts, the lessons, and the TED Talk taught me that when I was talking about those three individuals, about the monumental steps that were taken, the legacies that they left, it helped me to understand that we all can take the steps and we all can leave a legacy. Start living it now. I can't help but to keep saying that. And then I want you to define what your legacy should look like, because you should do it already. When you define what success is, you're defining your legacy. You're writing down the action plans that you're going to be taking. And so, what I want you to do is take them. I want you to get engaged. I want you to network. I want you to join organizations, associations. I want you to volunteer. I want you to mentor. I want you to be mentored. All of these are the things that we do in order to live our legacy. It's about joy. It's about happiness. It's about just taking a deep breath and enjoying what you're doing in a day-to-day time. There's individuals who are in careers and professions that they dislike totally. But here at Leveless, we want you to love what you do and do what you love, and you just happen to get paid for it. Let's not leave that out. We want you to be paid for it. Then the next thing is overcoming adversity. Many times it's not easy, but as I indicated to you, I had to step out on faith. I had to step out on faith. So, what you define as faith is what you believe in. What I believe in is a higher power. And so, therefore, I do pray and seek guidance from that standpoint. But I also know that I must eat healthy and I must rest well and drink plenty of water. So, adversity can shape. It can shape us in many ways that we've never imagined. I never imagined having to create this business by myself. I mean, 35 years being married, eventually we know we're going to lose each other, but we just don't know when. And when it happened, the way it happened, your job loss on a Monday, you laying people off on a Tuesday, your husband's dies that same Thursday. That's a blow to the emotions. That's a blow to the mind. It's like, how do you even wrap your head around that? And yes, I could have crawled under a rock, but I decided not to. I decided that let me take what he and I had strategized on and move it forward. So I want you to take those challenges that I just asked you to write and the success steps that you put with it. And I want you to put a timeline against it so that you're not just sitting on it, that you're going to put it in motion. You're going to move forward and you're going to achieve your goals. So that's how I was able to turn that lost into a purpose. That lost into a purpose. And you can too. You can too. Now, my website is levellessco.com. That's levellessco.com. And we'll put it on run it on the screen. Let me put it in there so that you can see it. Because I want you to reach out to me. I want you to understand that we are here to help you to look at and to define what your purpose is, as well as, just make sure I got to spell right. I'm trying to do it fast. as well as to understand what profession that complements your strengths. And so, Mark is our producer on Pod TV, and Pod TV has a lot of different TV shows that you can go to and you can watch. And you have individuals who are talking about not only health, but wealth, emotions, emotional intelligence. We're talking about how do you move forward in life when you do experience a challenge or experience adversity. And adversity can happen at any given time to us and in life. So it's important that we understand how we can move forward so that we don't let that adversity put us under, but instead help us to overcome your purpose every day. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis in order to live your purpose? That website that's going across the banner, when I talked about journaling earlier, go to my website and key in your information, your name and your email address. And what will come to your email is an ebook on journaling. How to journal, the way to journal, when to journal is my gift to you, because I want to ensure that you continue to move forward and live your legacy. So that TED Talk has a lot of power behind it. And I want to make sure we're going to put the link on the screen as where the TED Talk is so that you can go and watch the TED Talk. And let me hear from you. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what emotions that you felt, how it's helping you to overcome and do things that you need to be doing while you're going through these challenges and the adversity. And also tell me the three individuals that I talked about. Let me know. The other thing that when we're talking about adversities, or we're talking about challenges, and we're talking about turning your loss into a purpose, you're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna have setbacks. I had them. I experienced them. They could be financial setbacks. They could be emotional setbacks. They can be, all of these things are essential in life. So you can experience a setback. But what do you do when you have that setback? Who do you go to? Who do you talk to? There's so many different individuals that we have to reach out to and have a conversation with. Take a step forward, even if you have to talk to a therapist. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to do that. And it's healthy for us to do that. Just know when we're experiencing this setback, we could feel like it's the end. We could feel like we're lost. We could even feel like we're stuck. I felt all those emotions. But what helped me on the other end was the fact that I decided to share the information with other people. And by sharing that information with other people, it helped me to overcome. It helped me to bring clarity around all these emotions that I felt. It helped me to grab hold to what my skill sets are and what my strengths are so that I can then help others. So see, those 40 years being in human resources, they were a blessing. All the different conferences and the workshops that I had attended, has helped me throughout this business. It has helped me to design workshops. It has helped me to mentor people. It has helped me to do one-on-one coaching. It has helped me to continue to live my legacy. And there is a journal that where you write your legacy points in, that's called Transformation, Write, Live, and Share. So see, as you're going through a transformation, I encourage you to write about it. Tell your story. Put it in a picture form. Share it with the world. Make a play out of it. Write, do a book. That's the writing part. But the sharing part is where you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, and you're going to have to move forward and share with other people like I did. So I turned that loss into a purpose by sharing my story. And we all have stories. We all have a story to tell. And the story can be told in different ways and at different times and to different people. And it's going to help along the way, them as well as ourselves. So write, share, and then that's where the live comes in at. Living your legacy so that you can help others to live their legacy. You can make an impact on a school, on a child, on an adult, on a community, on an association, starting your own business, working for a business, and even impacting the world. It doesn't stop. Mark talked about his father and as he got older. When is your ability? You keep it with you and you use it no matter when, no matter where, and no matter how. You never lose it. You use it. Unlike a skill, you lose it if you don't use it. But something that's embedded that you were born with, you never lose it just because you don't use it. So, in those setbacks, it takes courage. It takes courage to share our most difficult moments. And it took the same for me when I shared the story about my husband dying and being laid off. But it also took as much courage to talk about my heart failure that I had due to preservatives. So see, when I was going through that emotions of the heart failure, it made me realize even more why I do live my legacy, why I do share what I'm sharing and how I'm helping individuals, why I love it. And then when you see the outcome of those individuals and how they're prospering, it makes your heart feel good. It makes you know that you're making a difference and you're having an impact on people's lives. So one of the taglines we have here at Levelers is say, Levelers people succeeding. Because when you have that levelers mindset and you know the sky is not the limit, you're able to succeed because you have a strategy in place. So I want you to make sure that you write that strategy, those challenges that you have, put a strategy against them, and then put a timeline against the action steps that you intend to take. So see, you have an assignment. You didn't know you were coming to class, just coming to this TV show to get an assignment to go back home and complete it. Well, when you complete it, share it with me. Share with me how you're making a difference in your own life and how you're making a difference in others. And where you can share it with me is at Maxine at levelusco.com. And therefore, and put in the subject, making an impact. Making an impact. Or turning understanding my purpose. Put in the word purpose. Purpose would be good as well. Because I want you to make an impact as you are moving forward in life. All right, so that's Maxine at levelusco.com is where I want you to send that information. And therefore, if you don't mind, I like to read some of them when I'm on having a TV show and give a shout out to you for you living your legacy and making an impact in this world. Well, how about inspiring others or crafting a space, a safe place and creating a safe and inspiring space? We need that, whether it's in an organization or whether it's at home or whether you with a group, you need that safe space and you need having people talk inspiring words and encouraging words to you. So that's a part of the loss turning into a purpose. I had individuals speaking into my life, praying for me, supporting me, talking with me, and we need to do that for each other. You do it for them and allow them to do it for you. Because, see, sometimes we get into the habit that we're so used to doing it for other people, we can't stop and allow other people to nurture us, to encourage us, to love on us. So that's how you can turn a loss into a purpose, is by implementing some of these areas in which I've just spoken on. And then I want you to say, when you write the challenges and you put actions with it, and you've got a timeline against it, and you're taking those actions, I want you to journal your experience. What did you feel? What spoke to you? Who did you speak to? Who helped you? Who did you help? What impact has it had on you? And there's so many different areas in life that we can look at those impacts, right? It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be intellectual, it could be physical, it could be emotional. We have all these different areas that can impact us and we can impact others. So that's something that you can use as part of your strategy when you're putting a timeline against it and you're looking at action plans. So living your legacy also builds resilience, perseverance, determination. I knew that I have administrative gifts and I do know how to put a plan together and move forward and have done that. I've created jobs where jobs did not even exist in an organization because I was able to show them that here is a need for it. And lo and behold, I end up being promoted into the position. But resilience is, how do you bounce back? How do you bounce back from something that's just taken the wind out of you? Something that just seemed like to me that just cut your legs off and you know, fail a little bit. How do you rise again to overcome it? But you must be resilient. I had to be resilient in order to take that loss and turn it into a purpose. And then I sought help. Therapy is one area that you can seek help. A mentor is another area where you can seek help. And then a coach, a life coach or a career coach, or depending on what type of coaching you need, because there are all different types of coaches out here. I happen to hone in on the life and career coaching. And in the career coaching, we look at professional development. And so in doing that and working with a coach, I too had to design a strategy. I have had to lay my whole game plan out and how I'm going to be moving forward in life. And that's what I want you to be doing yourself. That helps you to live your legacy. And I have a tagline that says transforming generations through life and career coaching. Because each one can teach one. And when you take it upon yourself to share your information, you are transforming lives. You might not know, like this podcast and this TV show that I'm doing tonight. I don't know who all will look at this podcast and this TV show. Because guess what? Pod TV streams to over 200 countries. We're on Roku. We're on Facebook Live. We're on Amazon Live. We are on Roku Live. I think I said Roku Live. And YouTube. So see, I have no idea how many hundred of thousands of people that this one segment will touch, will reach, will make a difference in the lives of those who listen. Because it could only take that one thing that I've said that can propel them forward in them living their legacy. So don't ever underestimate your stories. Don't ever underestimate the importance that you are to bring it forward and to help others live their legacy. Remember what I said? I want to leave here empty because I want to know that I have helped others move forward in their life so that they too can be an influencer and that they can impact in their community, in their families, in their nation, and even in the world. The sky is not the limit. So here at Levelist, we don't limit ourselves. When I was talking about the TED Talk, transforming, and we talk about living your legacy, my emotions rushed because, see, taking a loss and turning it into a purpose just didn't happen when I lost my job. It just didn't happen when I lost my husband. Remember, I had lived 55 years prior to losing a job and losing my husband. So there are a lot of different transformations that had to take place during those 55 years. Same thing with you. I ask you to write down your age. Did you write it down? I ask you to look at that age. And what I want you to understand is here is a clip that the producer is going to share. And I want you to think about what I'm saying in this clip. So, are you ready, Mark? Let's see if he's ready. All right. Well, Mark, let me know when you're ready. Then we'll show that clip. All right. While Mark is getting ready, remember that, oh, there it is.
Grief does not have a roadmap. So I had to rely on everything I had inside of me, my faith, in order to move forward because I knew my children and my grandchildren, they needed me. I started telling my stories, my triumphs, my losses. I ended up finding out that I was helping other individuals to move through their losses. And I had to end up taking the concepts that my husband and I had put together for a business idea. And I took one step at a time until January of 2011, when I took a monumental step of faith and I became president and CEO. Now, those are not just titles. I want you to understand that that was a tribute to my husband and to our legacy together, because I wanted to make sure that his ideas were embedded in the company's DNA so that his legacy could continue to live. I say to you that it's time. We don't know when our lifetime will end. So that's why it's important that you live your legacy now. Don't wait till tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. It's time for you to breathe life and allow your legacy to breathe life into others. It is also time for you to understand that life is more than just the number of days that you live, but it's the impact that you make while you are living. So now I encourage you to take a pledge within yourself and say, I am going to live my legacy and I am going to start living it now. So write about it, share it with others, mentor, work in the community, give back. Now is the time to do it. You have the power to live your legacy. Thank you.
You have the power to live your legacy. Tomorrow is not promised. Do today what you can. Do today to share, to make an impact. It is not about the number of days you lived, but it is about the impact that you make while you are living. There's so many different ways that you can give back. There's so many different ways that you can share. But importantly, is how are you living your legacy? I started the podcast and the TV show off asking you, what are you doing to live your legacy? I also ask you to write some challenges down that you have and to put a strategy against those challenges. I also requested that you put a timeline against the challenges that you've written down with action steps. I indicated that I had to take a step of faith, one step at a time, in order for me to turn that loss into a purpose, and that purpose into living my legacy. So, see, you can do the same. What I did, you can do as well. One of the reasons why I share and be on this TV show is so that I can give back to help others to move forward and live their legacy, to live their purpose, to understand what they're passionate about, because tomorrow is not promised. So go out there on YouTube and listen to the entire TED Talk about living your legacy. Transformation, Write, Share, Live, living your legacy. Let's see if we have any questions. Mark, did we have any questions out here? Let's see.
Didn't see any questions as of yet, but I do know that you wanted people to know about your discovery session. So I guess we can tell them about that as well, because you've got that coming up where they can get that 15-minute discovery session and get personal input from you as well.
That is correct, Mark. Look at you. You're so good. Thank you, sir. Well, since we don't have any questions out there, then yes. I mean, there's some individuals, like, listen, I didn't find out what my purpose was. I didn't discover it until I was about 33. I wrote about it. Oh, Sharon says, how do I start to live my legacy? Excellent, Sharon. That's just what I'm getting ready to talk about. And so the thing about it is that when I started writing about my goals and what I desire to do in life, Mark, I had no idea what I was doing at that age, especially as a teenager, and I was putting it into my Bible. But then once I found out that I started completing those goals, but as I moved forward and I looked at what God has, I would say, assigned me to do is help others to understand their legacy. I mentioned earlier about an assessment, and that assessment is an ability assessment. And what I love about that ability assessment is that it helps you to understand your strengths, the strengths that you were born with that nobody else had but you. And I always say the strengths that you were given when you were given the breath of life. And that's one of the reasons why I had you to take in those deep breaths at the beginning of the show and allow them to release slowly. Because when we breathe, we have an opportunity to allow that oxygen to go through our bodies. And when we take this assessment, it helps us to understand what is already within us that we can bring out. So that's how you can start living your legacy, is to understand what your strengths are. And then put that into a roadmap where we help you to design and define what success is for you. And then design a strategy to help you get there. And I tell you, before long, you're going to be writing about all of the great things that you're doing. You're going to be writing about all the people that you're helping. And that's why it's called Levelless People Succeeding, because it's success without levels. So, Sharon, I trust that that was an answer that helped you with how do you live your legacy. And that's putting a plan in place and taking the actions and helping others. And it's not all about self, it's about sometimes self service above self. And that comes from me being in a part of the Rotary, service above self. Let's see, are there any other questions?
Let's see. No,
Okay.
oh, wait, Sharon has something else.
I remember when teachers talk down to you that you are not able to live your purpose. Oh my gracious. When you look at the TED Talk, you'll see something that a teacher told me that I would not make it in the halls of academia because my GPA was so low in high school. But I tell individuals now when I'm talking and doing keynote speaking, no, my GPA was not, it was a 2.4. It was not a 3.4 or a 4.0. But what I realized later in life was that my gifts were already within me. And because I was from a family of 12, we didn't have those tutors that we could go to. And so therefore, I had to do the best I could in order to learn. And I did not even know my learning styles. So now, as a career coach, I help individuals to understand how do they communicate best and how should other people communicate to them so they can then learn faster. So when teachers talk down to you about what you can and cannot do, when you know who you are and you know your strengths, you know your abilities, it's not going to matter what other people say. Because, see, I ended up with not only 1 degree, but 2 degrees. I ended up with all those certifications. I ended up with a presidential award, lifetime. And if I had not believed in myself, I wouldn't have been doing that. I would have listened to what the teachers told me. And not only teachers, sometimes individuals can tell you. So you have to know who you are and believe in yourself and know your purpose and know your strengths. And when you do that, then you're able to know, as I said, the sky is not the limit. So don't limit yourself. So those are some of the things that I would encourage, that when teachers tell you something like that, start journaling your goals, start writing about your achievements, and start doing all of those great things, because you have to encourage yourself when someone else is not encouraging you. And I know that that's a song that Yolanda Adams sings, and she wrote, encourage yourself. So that's what I would say, encourage yourself. Okay, we're getting ready to close. And someone is asking, are there any coaching or workshops that we do? And the answer is yes, we do. We're proud to say that our career and development program is going to be released soon, our boot camp, so that you'll be able to enroll in that. It's an 8-week program that's going to help you boost and to help you to understand that purpose. It's going to help you to identify that strategy, how to take action, so that you can move forward and do what you've already been called to do, and that you understand that purpose, that what you're passionate about. And remember what I said, you love what you do and do what you love. The sky is not the limit. And Leveless is about success without levels. You can be successful as long as you are completing your goals and you believe in yourself. So, as I wrap up this evening, I want to thank you for being a part of this. Next week, I want you to tune in, because I'm going to be having Antonio Human with me and his mother. Antonio is a 25-year-old with autism. I want to share with you, I had him on about a year ago. He has written a book. He has done some cards that I want you to take a look at. He has a website, and this young man is a mover and shaker. He is living his legacy, and I'm bringing him on next week so we can share the progress that he has made since a year ago. And so he's in the belief that the sky is not the limit, because Antonio is an artist. He's a pianist. He's a writer. He's a poet. So there's so many things this young man is doing. And I want you to come back and join me next week, and so that you can hear all about Antonio and the great work, and his mother and what she did in order to help him live his legacy. as a child, as an infant, to where he is today. So it's time for me to close. I want to say, I believe in you. I trust you believe in yourself. Meet me back here next week as I have Antonio Human and his mom, Laura, to be my special guest. Take care and have a great evening.
Taking a chance.